In today's video, we have a big tropics update. We have some upcoming major storms, a potential snowfall event in the northeast, it's debatable, and some cold air on the way on multiple occasions. Now, before we get into things, be sure to check out Prestige Weather in the description and the pinned comment down below, and that is where we have released our third winter forecast. It's going to be up there for another week exclusively, so if you want to check it out today, it is $5 a month in the pinned comment and description down below. Let's get into things, and again, the tropics looking really active. Tammy has redeveloped despite what I thought would end up happening. That is what ended up happening. We can see that there is two areas of some slight concern. This one we had yesterday, and this one has actually lowered in probability over the past 24 hours since I made that video last night. It hasn't even been 24 hours, but we see a 48-hour forecast of 0% chance of development, and then over the next 7 days, we do have a 10% chance. So really, really low. This is about as low as it goes as far as these tropical outlooks go. And as you can see, we have another disturbance here. And this one has a 20% chance over both the next 48 hours and the next 7 days. So this one has twice the amount of chance of developing, but still, it's 20%, or it's twice the chance of pretty much rock bottom chance of development. So still relatively low chances of development here. But this one is aimed a little bit at the southeast, so we're going to be watching this one closely. All three of these systems we will continue to keep you guys up to date with as long as they continue to be a thing. Let's move into the upcoming pattern, and as you can see, we do have snowfall occurring here throughout Colorado, Nebraska, Iowa, and South Dakota. Some thunderstorms firing up here for the south of that area, and actually for tomorrow, I want to take us to tomorrow afternoon, and there is the chance of some wintry activity for the Denver, I think it's the Denver and Kansas City NFL game, so the Chiefs and the Broncos. Let me just check this real quick. We usually don't do sports outlooks, but I am curious. So yeah, that is the Denver and Kansas City game, and it is in Denver. And as you can see, snowfall will be occurring in Denver, so potentially a snowfall NFL game there. So be sure to tune into that if you do enjoy those types of games. I do, particularly. I think it's an interesting type of play style. Usually, I feel like, not to get really off topic here, but whatever team has the rushing offense, the best rushing offense tends to do a little bit better. Passing, not so much. Although, if you're big into the history of the NFL, I think it was 2007, but the Patriots took on the Titans in a snow game, and they just let that football fly versus them. And I think it was like a 59-0 score, something crazy like that. Definitely search that one up because it's an interesting snow game. Pretty much contradicts what I just said. As we move towards Monday, again, sorry we went a little bit off topic there, we can see this frontal area. I'm not going to call it necessarily a super intense frontal boundary there, but there's definitely some activity happening here between the warm air here in the southeast and the very potent cold air to the north. And you can see in between those two air masses, we do actually have quite a bit of rainfall occurring. Now, on this particular model run, we do see this low pressure system develop, but again, as I kind of alluded to yesterday, I told you guys I wouldn't be surprised if it continued to slip further and further southeast. And sure enough, we're seeing that happen, and I don't think we get any snowfall hardly anywhere, maybe a little bit there for the coast of Maine, some inland snowfall showers for the mid-Atlantic and northeast, but this is continuing to trend eastward, and I would not be surprised if this one goes away altogether. We see that cold air now over the east for a couple of days for Wednesday into Thursday, even Friday. We do get a brief warm-up up the coast here. I'll tell you what's happening. So we see this trough just like this, probably seeing some warm air rushing up the east coast for a day. But we have another Arctic blast on the way at the end of this model run as this potent cold air is moving further south and further east. Not a very active model run. Let's just move into the total precipitation. And as you can see, we do have plenty of this happening here for Washington, Oregon, California, even into Idaho there. And then you can see for areas like Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas there, Missouri, as it's buffering, so we can't see what I'm drawing, but Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania. All of those areas have some above average activity as well, as again, that separates the warmth and the cold, and we saw a lot of precipitation happening in there, so we will be watching for some potential flooding, some thunderstorm activity in there as well, and overall, a healthy amount of rainfall is definitely in store for them over there. Now, let's go ahead and move into the total snowfall, and as you can see, this is greatly reduced because we have warm air for most of the model run set up in here, so we don't really get snowfall events that much happening in here. And matter of fact, all this snowfall is pretty much from what's happening over the next couple of days, and afterwards this all gets shut down as well. And honestly, we see actually more snowfall in the final 5 days of that 10-day forecast in this pocket here as opposed to the west. So a lot of that snow and cold shifts to the east. Obviously, for this time of year, the east doesn't see very much snowfall, so it is in the form of mostly just seeing flakes, maybe a dusting in a couple spots, but still, primarily that cold and snow potential does move eastward overall. Let's take a look at our temperature pattern. You can see colder air here for a lot of the northwest, and then this warmth surging up the east coast. But this cold is moving eastward, and it will continue to do so. So let's just keep tracking this. As we move through that pattern, we see that the east is holding on to the warmth for a little bit there, but then eventually the cold takes over, especially Halloween night into the day on November the 1st, which is going to be Wednesday. We see brutal cold air set up here for a lot of these pockets. Certainly a chilly one, to say the least. Now, as we keep going, we see that cold sticks around. We do get that brief warm up at the end of the model run, like I mentioned, but we have this next cool down on the way right here, and this is moving further south and further east. And I think the important thing to note here is that we still have this positive PNA, which stands for Pacific North American Oscillation. That is going to continue to allow this cold air to move eastward, so it's no surprise this is happening again here on this model run. As we dive into the long range, I just want to take you through this. We see, again, colder air for a majority of this. We do see that around the 15th, the 20th of November, we get some warmth in the east, cold along the west. But we do see a return to, again, that positive PNA pattern. So we see that out here. And instantly, once that happens, we see the cold take aim at the east. So no surprises whatsoever. And we kind of continue to see that through December 12th, which is the end of this long-range models run. But keep in mind, you want to take this with a grain of salt. This is obviously very, very far out. So this can change a lot over the next, I guess, 45 days here. So keep that in mind as well. Now, be sure to subscribe. We do upload every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.